property, I do a cash out refinance, and the cash out refinance actually pays for the furniture. A little extra on top of how the structure is going to go.
Right.
But no, you don't need to actually own the property to do. Okay. Do I start from the top?
Yeah, start from the top.
Start from the top?
Yeah,
Okay.
please.
Okay, so the question I understand is do you have to own the property to make money in Airbnb? And the short answer is no. You do not have to own the property. You can actually work with, like Graystar is a big developer in the area. They own probably millions of units across the country. You can work with companies like that, or you can actually work with individual owners. And a really cool way to do it is, if you go through Jade, you can actually see listings that have expired that was for rent. And that listing fell through for some reason. Not sure why, but it fell through for some reason. That's a really good golden opportunity to get an owner to say yes pretty quick. And you also can negotiate a deal with the owner to have at least 90 days to be able to get the house up to par. Commercial, we call it TI, tenant improvements. It's actually TI. Oh, it's tenant improvements. So you can ask something very similar. You can ask the owner to give you 90 days to actually get the property par to where you deal with small painting, maybe some flooring issues, and put it back on the market. But no, you don't have to own the property. My personal position is I actually own all my units.
Wow.
The ones I manage for other people, I don't own those, but I manage them. And I buy them as fix and flips. And my financial process is I put down, somewhere between 5 to 10%, depends on the deal. And then I get a construction loan on it, do the whole entire project. We have teams across Houston that do all the renovations. And then I do a cash and refinance, almost like the Burr method, if you're familiar with that. I just for Airbnb. And that cash from the cash and refinance goes into furnishing the property.
That's tight.
Yeah, so like the compliance lady that was here earlier, you can do Airbnb if you're leasing a property, but like she said, you have to definitely include information from the actual owners so they make sure that they're aware of that. That's what you're doing with their property.
Nice.
Okay, so the next question is for Matt, and it says, Matt, you own 5 short-term rentals across 5 different markets, and you're building short-term rental IQ. What separates the investors crushing it right now from the ones who are struggling?
What?
Okay, bring it on. What separates the ones that are crushing it from the ones that are not crushing it? Okay. Well, I think Aldo and our photography friend mentioned it earlier, but the number one thing I see across the board is one word. Take this away tonight: experiences. And I heard this. I heard this fun quote from one of my buddies, and he was like, "Hey, we sell the illusion of fun. Now, whether they actually have fun in the property or not is totally up to the guests. But our job as operators and investors is, in those 5 pictures that you put on that Airbnb listing, you got to make sure that they are thinking that experience is going to be the best time of their life. And so that's truly what separates average performers that just put furniture in the property versus people that absolutely crush it. Whatever that means, I'll do that for you.
I have a follow-up question to that. Is that okay? Look quiet.
Bring it on.
So totally agree with you, but I just wonder, in your opinion, as you know, most people don't do that. Why don't they do that?
Why?
Yeah, like what's limiting them from creating that experience and instead just creating a place with furniture?
Yeah.
So there's 3 things that hold people back. You know, hear me?
Yes.
Time, knowledge, and
Money.
so we all have time, right? For the most part. But knowledge is a huge gap that Stripe or SRQ solves, right? So you got to know what the opportunity is. So that's one half.
You mean like they don't even know that they can make more money if they create an
Right.
experience?
So a lot of people are like, I don't even know how much money this thing can even make. So that's knowledge. But the other piece is capital. So a lot of people like me, I grew up in Lubbock, Texas, didn't have no money. So I had to just figure it out. But some people may have a lot of cash, and that may not be a problem. But capital, it's scary when you're putting in 50 to 100 grand or whatever it is to these properties. But to unlock that top 10%, you've got to be able to risk capital.
Now, I would add to Matt's sentiments, a lot of it's mindset too, because some people look at investing 50 grand of capital as I could put it somewhere else. But then they don't understand it's a massive opportunity cost you're losing when I actually put the capital to the deal. So a lot of it starts with your mindset, where your head's at on how you look at capital. Right.
Also, it's also about, people are visual creatures, so once they see something pretty on the listing, they're more prone to click that listing, and not all of the investors understand that, and you don't have to spend a ton of money to have a nice looking Airbnb, but if you don't have an eye for it, you might look at it and say, oh, that's too expensive, I can't really afford all of these extra decorations, which is where, Cassie and Lauren come in, because they work with all different type of budgets. So that transitions us into the next question, which is, what are you guys' designs pet peeves with short-term rentals?
Is that
Cassie or Lauren?
Wow.
Okay, don't come at me. But I wouldn't say this is a design thing, but it's something that I see in a lot of short-term rental listings. And I guess a cleaner did this or something, and it just kind of ran with everything. But a pet peeve is for sure the throw blanket at the end of the bed where they pinch it in the middle to look like a boat. I don't know where it came from, but it screams Airbnb. And that's not what we're doing anymore, right? We're trying to take this to, we want everybody to start thinking about your short-term rental as a boutique hotel. That's what you're trying to run, right? Like that's what you really want to be comparing to, because that's the price that you're trying to project out. So you have to put that value out there with the photos. And doing that is just, I don't know what happened. It was just a trend, and it's kind of a little bit ick. Yeah.
So, like, with the marketing and advertising for these Airbnbs, is there rules like with YouTube and Facebook? And that lady that was here earlier, she said there's like rules and stuff with that stuff.
Yeah, she actually mentioned something that kind of caught us a little bit off guard by saying that you're not allowed to advertise the property as like bachelorette. Now, what we were assuming, which obviously we should have asked her to clarify.
Right.
I don't believe that you can. Maybe she meant you can't say that in the description of the property.
But you can record it, put it on YouTube and
How
Facebook.
you can do that
Right.
is with lifestyle shots.
Right,
Like you can
so-
do that without saying it. You can see it, you can see the list and you're like, this is exactly what this is for. This is for my group, without using the words that can get you in trouble.
All right.
Now again, we didn't ask her that, but that's what we were
Well,
assuming. like,
what you mean by getting in trouble is fine.
Yeah.
All right.
Or shut down.
They'll ban your listing. They'll take it off of Airbnb.
Or just attracting the wrong guests.
Yeah.
Because language means a lot, and
Yeah.
language means something. So if you're showing it as a bachelorette or a bachelor's paradise, what happens to the bachelor party? People are partying and drinking and having fun. What's gonna happen next door? You're gonna piss off your neighbor,
Yep.
Yeah.
and that's where the city gets involved. So I'm not sure exactly of her context, but what I understood it to be is that when you have certain vernacular in your listing, and then that attracts a certain type of folk, that creates problems with neighbors, which creates problems with the city.
So, but you mean listing like through the Airbnb website, not YouTube and Facebook
Right.
and Twitter and X and.
Yeah, she means just like Airbnb.
All right.
And then I know Lauren's pet peeve, and that is having, say the property sleeps 10 people, but your dining room table sits.
Weird stuff.
Don't do that. Like, make it to where everybody is going to be able to sit together and commune, and we always recommend if there's room outside to have some type of dining experience out there too. If you have a nice.
Do you have any more of these?
Yes, I have a ton of them in my office. I make sure I personally deliver to you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, this question is for Jade. How do I know if I am qualified to get the Airbnb, basically?
Yes, absolutely. So financing is definitely going to be the first thing that you've got to figure out when acquiring an Airbnb. So the first step is, of course, if you're really just trying to get your feet wet, you don't really have the opportunity to get approved by a lender, you can go the route with big management companies like Greystar or private landlords that will allow you to sublease under that lease. Now, the next step would be, of course, getting connected with a great lender team that can actually help. And if you are an investor, there are differences between purchasing a primary home for yourself and an investment property. So that will change the dynamics of your down payment. However, that's all based off of different variables of your credit, your debt to income. And a lender that is an experienced lender, especially when it comes to acquiring investment properties specifically, will be able to help you create the financing that is, needed to acquire these properties at the lowest amount possible, or what fits for your goals in purchasing the property. Yeah, and then I know Chaz, he dips a little bit into lending as well too.
Well,
So
I got a question,
back off of that as well.
So like, I got a question, man. Yeah, so like, you have like a bunch of properties. Do you have to pay taxes on all them things?
Absolutely.
Damn.
Yeah, I pay almost 7 figures a year in taxes. Yeah, and that's just property tax. I also pay payroll tax.
Wow.
I pay, Becky can tell you, she manages all my stuff. Yeah. I pay the United States government, state and federal.
Nice.
Someone's goal of revenue for their business per year, salary taxes. Yeah.
Wow.
But to speak from a lending standpoint, I own a mortgage company as well, and I've been licensed in mortgage for quite some time. And there's a number of ways to skin a cat. I think the easiest way to do it is do a hard money loan. If you're really trying to, if you have some challenge credit, or maybe the capital isn't there to do a conventional, which would be 20% down. And then the other loan types, like FHA and VA, they have very strict requirements when it comes down to whether you be the primary residence or whether it's an investment vehicle. So when it comes to investments, I tend to say if you have 25% of the purchase price to play with, you're